what is the criterion? If there are other language families in the area, what is the criterion by which you can decide whether this came from out or is local? Now, Witzel refers to the well-known conservatism of river names, which helps to identify earlier inhabitants. That is, today if you go to America, no Red Indian language is spoken, everyone speaks English, or the other people who have migrated from other parts of the world. But the majority of the rivers of the USA have Red Indian names. Mississippi, Massachusetts, the names of the states, the name of the cities, Oklahoma. These are not English words which have been taken there. They are Mississippi, Missouri, Wisconsin. All these are Red Indian words which have still been written. That is, the original names of the rivers do not change. In any area, those rivers continue to remain the same, the names. For example, we find all these, for example, Chicago, Idaho, Ohio, Iowa, Missouri. In England, all places ending in Don, Chester, Tonham, A, Wick, etc. are pre-English names. This includes even London, for example, Manchester, Winchester, all these names are pre-English names. But Witzel admits in South Asia, relatively few pre-Indo-Aryan names of places survive in the north. But there are many more in central and southern India. Now actually when he says relatively few place names, no one has been able to find a single place name in the north which is either Dravidian or anything else. He says many more in central and southern India, obviously because still Dravidian languages are spoken in the south, so you will find Dravidian place names there. In the east you find Munda and Santali and other languages being spoken, so obviously you will find Munda and Santali names there. But you don't find in Punjab, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Gujarat, you don't find Dravidian and Munda names, place names. But most important is the river names, because the river names remain for thousands of years. Take for example Europe itself, not just America. America, we know that the Europeans went there 300 years ago. But see Europe, river names are found to reflect the languages spoken before the influx of Indo-European speaking population. They are older than 4500 to 2500 BC. That is, all the rivers of Europe, Germany, France, England, they are non-Indo-European names. They reflect the names of earlier inhabitants of those areas. So you see, there you have proof that the Indo-European Aryan languages of Europe are not native to that area. They came from outside, because the river names are non-Aryan. Whereas, and this is Witzel's writing, in northern India, rivers in general have early Sanskrit names from the Vedic period and names from the daughter languages of Sanskrit later on. This is surprising in the area once occupied by the Indus civilization, where one would have expected the survival of older names, as has been the case in Europe and the Near East. So you see, when they see some fact, they don't derive the conclusion from it, they're just surprised. When it's surprising, now the obvious logic should be that Aryans did not come from outside. Now European names, even today, for over 4500 years, they have still retained non-Indo-European, non-Aryan names. Whereas in the Rig Veda, which is at the very least over 3000 years old, even by the Western scholars dating, even in the Rig Veda, you don't find all the areas of the Indus and Vedic area are Aryan names. They are not Dravidian or Munda or any other this thing. Now the Indus Valley civilization is one of the greatest civilizations of the world. If it was a non-Aryan civilization, then all the rivers, it was in a river area, the area of the Sapta Sindhu. Now all those rivers should have had Dravidian names or Munda names or Semitic names or whatever language was spoken there. But you find all of them have Sanskrit names even in the Rig Veda. So this obviously proves that they did not have any earlier names. This is the area of the Rigvedic people. You just contrast the distinction that today in Europe there is no trace of any non-Aryan language. If you go to Germany, Britain, all the languages of Europe are Aryan. The only languages which are non-Aryan are Finnish and Hungarian to the east. Whereas to the west, all the languages are Aryan languages. But the river names, even after 4500 years, still give testimony to the fact that earlier there were non-Aryans there. Whereas in the area of the Rig Veda, that is the Punjab, Haryana, etc., even in the oldest text you find only Aryan names, you don't find pre-Aryan names. This is absolute proof that the Indus and the Vedic area had never been non-Indo-European in speech. See, this is proof, whatever proof arguments they give that there are other language families in India and all, when you really examine those things, you find actually it proves that India is the original area.